I would like to explain how the universe was created, according to the mystics, according to the Kabbalists. And it's a little ambitious, but I'm going to try. So first, I would like to explain a couple of concepts. The first concept is the Ein Sof. Ein Sof literally means without end, meaning the infinite. So the infinite, or Ein Sof, is the Alpha and the Omega. It's basically what people know as God, but the Hebrew mystics called it the Ein Sof. Is that which has no beginning, no end, no time, no space. Our human brains cannot comprehend it, but we can experience it, we can feel it, and we can, by striving to understand it, we elevate our minds and towards something higher, the most perfect thing. And so the Ein Sof, to explain it, it sort of defeats the purpose, because the thing is that it has no explanation, no concept, nothing can contain it, nothing can really grasp it, but we sort of can have try, so imagine the most perfect being, infinite, no beginning, no end, no concept, no time, no space, just, they call it what is inside, they call it or, which is vibrations or light. Not light conceived as we conceive it, but a light that is eternal, that is beyond the realm of time and space. And so that's the Ein Sof, right? I'm not explaining it because, like I said, it eludes any kind of explanation and any kind of concept. But just try to imagine and, connect with that idea of perfection, infinite attributes. So according to the mystics, this Ein Sof, in a day without a day and in a time without time, and decided to contract itself. So it's basically what the scientists call the Big Bang, except that the Big Bang is, a Big Bang. Whereas the Kabbalists, the Hebrew mystics, called it the TzimTzum, which is actually the opposite. The Big Bang is Big Bang, whereas the TzimTzum is TzimTzum. It's like contraction, absolute contraction. My metaphor for that is, because they say that, before I say that, they say that the Ein Sof contracted itself and it also exiled itself. And I think that, well, first of all, the Ein Sof cannot exile, it's omnipresent, so it's everywhere. Everything is imbued by the Ein Sof, by the infinite source of love, however you want to call it. So there is no corner in this universe where the Ein Sof is not present. So the way I see it, it's sort of as if, it's a metaphor, as if the Ein Sof, the infinite, was like a tree, and then the tree had a seed, so it's a tree of just light, and they call it Earot. It's not or, it's Earot. It's like light, divine light, infinite light. And so that infinite light, they say, the mystics say, that it had vibrations like feminine, not as in woman and man, masculine and feminine as in expansive and restrictive energies, but at an infinite level without limitation. So those energies sort of became like a whirlpool, and then they created that TzimTzum, in the infinite, which means that there could be infinite TzimTzums, which goes with the theory of the multi-universe, the multiverse. And so it did the contraction, the ZimTzum, and then the Big Bang came. So first is the ZimTzum, which is, like I said, like my metaphor is like a seed in a tree of infinite light, and then that tree of infinite light produced a seed called, in the process called the ZimTzum, and then that seed gave birth to our universe, which is what the scientists call the Big Bang. But so I think the first is the ZimTzum and then the Big Bang. You know what I mean? They're not exactly the same. And so the moment the ZimTzum, of course it's a moment without moment, because the infinite has no, there's no, like I said, there's no beginning, no end, no time, no space. But the moment that ZimTzum and the Big Bang happened, some people say it's the same. I personally see it as, two different moments, like the seed and then the expansion. The expansion of the seed, I think it's more the Big Bang. And so in that moment, when the seed sort of, expands itself and produces our universe, creates our universe, in that precise moment, time and space, the fabric of time and space unfolded. So that was the moment where, our universe, with its duality of, time, space, good, bad, hot, cold, male, female, all these dualities and all these limitations, conditions, because the infinite is the only infinite, is the only perfection, is the only, and in the infinite there's the concept of unity, not the concept, because like I said, the infinite eludes all concepts, but there is this, this concept, I'm gonna say, but it's not a concept, it's a concept without concept, of unity, where we're all one. Whereas in the universe, in that ZimTzum, that seed that then expanded, then there is duality, or the illusion of duality, you see? So we have this, in the moment there's time and space and good and bad and night and day and all these, and not just the polarities, but also the variety of things, like all the galaxies and all the flowers and all the colors. And so that happened after the ZimTzum, after the Big Bang. That's when the fabric of space sort of like was in, let's say, like it's inside, it's a metaphor, it's inside the seed, the fabric, and then that fabric opens up, that seed opens up, and so it sort of unfolds the fabric of time and space, and then all these dualities and varieties arise. And isn't that beautiful? And the Ein Sof is hello. The Ein Sof is a God, or however you want to call that, which has no concept, is thinking that we can understand it, is with our little brains, is like going to the ocean with a ladle, and thinking, oh, I'm gonna capture the ocean in this ladle. You see, which is impossible, of course. However, just the fact that we go to the ocean with our little ladles and we try to capture a little bit of that ocean, just that fact connects us with the infinite, because every drop of the ocean contains the ocean. And likewise, every drop of the infinite is infinite. And so any attempt, any contact we make with that will be infinite. And so each person has a different way of connecting with the infinite and of sort of downloading whatever our minds can conceive, and we download it with our gifts and stuff. So for instance, Mozart will do it with music, Einstein with science, Spinoza with philosophy. And every time something is sort of downloaded from the Ein Sof, from the infinite, that little drop, compared to the infinite, of course, like a sonata, a scientific theory, that little drop will contain the essence of the infinite. And whatever is created from there then contains eternity, and it's filled with the luminous content of the divine. The ideas, any idea, like the idea of a circle, the idea of this is something that Spinoza explains, the idea of a circle, or the idea of a number, or a concept like the theory of gravity. All those ideas are like up here, right? Anybody can think of those ideas. They don't belong to anybody. They're just like ideas up there, right? When we think about them, those ideas get reflected, as if our brains were like a lake where we can see the reflection of those ideas. And so when we like connect with the idea of God, with the energy of God, then just by trying to do it, it's that idea gets reflected in the lake of our minds. Just a little portion of the infinite gets reflected in our minds. And then, says Spinoza, it gets purified and perfected just when we connect with that idea of the most perfect being, the infinite, that perfect being that has no beginning, no end, and infinite. So there is a song in The Sound of Music that sort of reminds me of that analogy, where she says, and I'm not a good singer, but she sings, "Wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings, these are a few of my favorite things." And so it's the wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. The moon, of course, is where it is, but it gets reflected on their wings. And so that reflection is beautiful, like the moon reflected on the wings of wild geese. Likewise, the moon of the infinite, in this analogy, gets reflected in the wings of our minds.